What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the ForneverWorld podcast, episode 10. The big 10, people. 10, 10, 10. Can you believe it? Yes, I can. I am your host. Yes, you hear Shintai, his enthusiasm. He's just right now falling out of his chair.
I'm literally jizzing with excitement.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, like, I was a little skeptical when we first started. I was like, man, is it really gonna, like, are we gonna be able to keep this consistency? And 10 weeks straight so far, we've been murking it, fam.
Like a hard-on that just doesn't go away. We keep going strong.
Whoa, pause. Oh, man.
Like every morning you wake up, there it is.
Oh, gosh. Yo, where are we starting this podcast right now, fam? Like,
I'm sorry, my mind is in the gutter.
well, pull that shit out.
I was born in it. I was molded by it.
We have a celebratory? Is that the right word, or am I speaking on celibacy?
We definitely ain't practicing that shit in this show.
Well, whatever the heck you want to call it, I am your host, ForneverWorld, alongside my co-host and very good friend, Daniel Santos, a.k.a. the Shin Dizzle of Dizzles, Shintai. Tell the people what's up! What's up? Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to start off this one with a little bit of reminiscing, but also kind of connecting it to the times, because one of the recommendations you guys gave us was to talk about Toonami. And Toonami,
oh yeah,
like I could definitely speak, I think, for both of us when I say that Toonami was a very pivotal factor in getting us into anime, and a lot of people into anime in the West especially. Man, I feel like, to start off, because like Toonami, I feel like there have been three iterations of Toonami up until this point, for me anyway. And let me know, Shintai, if you agree with me on this one. There was the Toonami that I kind of grew up with, that I think me and Shintai grew up with, where it was like predominantly Dragon Ball Z, but they had a few other shows. It would be a little variety.
Kenshin.
And then after a certain point, I want to say, like, I kind of started falling out of, like, watching Toonami. I think Dragon Ball had wrapped up, Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff. And then that's when, like, the Naruto craze came in. And it kind of felt like it, not only was it a different Toonami in a sense, but, like, it ushered in a whole different audience. Because at that point, it was, like, a next gen of anime fans. Is that fair to say up until this point, Shintai?
Yeah, I'd say so, sure.
So we went from the Dragon Ball era to the Naruto era. Then around 2008, Toonami had wrapped up, left fans for years scorn and bitter. A lot of people blamed Naruto filler for the death of Toonami, and I think they've come out on record a couple times now saying that no, it wasn't due to Naruto filler. It was a lot of other factors and variables that shut down Toonami. But from 2008 until, I want to say, 2012, Toonami was gone. And then they did an April Fool's joke in 2012 regarding Toonami, and then shortly after that they brought it back, and it was again like a different vibe. They were, I think, doing like reruns after like maybe 3 hours worth of showings. They had like Dead Man Wonderland and more of the current anime at that particular time that was airing. But like that was like the third iteration of Toonami, and I haven't been that faithful with it up until, cause like maybe the last few years I haven't really been on it like that. But I would say from there on, that was like the third iteration of Toonami. What are your thoughts on the changes that we've had with Toonami up until this point, Shintai?
I can't really comment much on the changes specifically, just because the Toonami that I knew was the same one that you knew back in the 90s. Like, that was my Toonami, and the shit that came afterwards, I tuned out. I didn't pay attention to it because partly because it was me changing, right? Like, when the Naruto era, I guess you can call it, around that time, I was watching Adult Swim. you know, like, and the era after that, like, you know, I watch my anime streaming, or, you know, I buy my anime, or, you know, whatever, like, completely different way of consuming anime. Like, why would I sit there and, like, wait to watch an episode of an anime, you know, broadcasting on television, when I can, you know, go on Netflix or Crunchyroll or whatever, you know, and just stream it right away? Like, it just doesn't, I don't see the point in, you know, nowadays.
Yeah, like between the first and the second generation, like I would say, like Dragon Ball ending was what kind of killed my Toonami enthusiasm back in those days. Like, it was just, it is what it is. I tuned in for Dragon Ball. Occasionally I would catch something that would be on there. Like, I want to say FMA was on there back in the day.
No, that was Adult Swim.
Adult Swim, okay, so I'm mixing shit up. But I know, like, I would catch here and there whatever was on as I waited for Dragon Ball Z. And then after I stopped, I'll never forget, and I've told this story before, but man, it's just, it's so interesting because at the time I didn't give two shits. One of my cousins, he was younger, and like he was getting older at that particular point, and he was like, he came home one day and he was telling me like, yeah, Naruto and Sasuke, you don't even know, he would do the jutsu and kick Goku and Vegeta's ass. Naruto is way better than Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is old news. And I remember just looking at him like, if you don't shut the fuck up,
I'ma smack you, boy.
Like, how dare you? Vegeta with one finger will slap the shit out of those corny ass ninjas.
Now, this is not, you know, a commentary on the quality of Dragon Ball versus Naruto, but you and I both know for a fucking fact that almost any character from Dragon Ball could beat the fucking living shit out of most characters in Naruto.
Oh yeah, like
so you're what was that, your cousin?
Yeah, he was like,
he was talking out of his fucking dick hole. Like,
no, he was like about 8 years old, 9 years old or something. You know, he like, that was his generation, that like everybody was with the Naruto headbands. You know, that era of like the annoying little Naruto fans and shit. Like, he was of that era, and I remember at the time, like, that's what kind of made me sour to Naruto for like, because I think that was, I want to say 06, like around late 06, maybe 07 when that happened. And it wasn't until like 2010 that I really gave Naruto like a fair shot, and, you know, actually ended up loving it and stuff like that. But that little comment is what made me not give a shit about Naruto, and I felt like, oh, these kids, they think that they know what's good. Dragon Ball Z is that good shit. And I guess that's also a statement about, like, in general fandom, how fandom can kind of ruin. Like, nowadays I don't let that shit happen, but especially when you're not that invested into it as a medium and shit like that, like, somebody comes across and shits on your stuff to try and promote their stuff, it's gonna make you feel like, fuck their stuff, I like my stuff, you know. Yes. What I'm saying?
I need to give this piece of advice to everyone out there. If you want someone to get into the thing that you like, don't shit on the things that they like.
Yeah.
Because that's never gonna fucking work. Never in the history of ever has anyone gone, wow, this person has taken a dump on this thing that I love. I'm going to check out what they like now. Like, that's never happened because we don't work that way. We're not wired like that. It immediately makes us want to go, well, fuck you. So don't do it. Just don't do it.
Oh man, and I wish that it didn't happen that way, because I probably would have got into Naruto sooner. And I mean, you know, everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. It was gonna happen that way, but because, you know, I ended up loving it. And Naruto, like, I mean, I'm wearing right now an Akatsuki shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Naruto. It's one of my all-time faves at this point. But man, I remember back then, and it kind of felt like it was maybe a reminder at that point. And mind you, at that particular point, I'm like maybe 14. Somewhere 13, 14, but it was one of the first times that I felt like, oh boy, I'm getting old. Like, again, I'm young as shit at that point, right? You know, I'm a kid, but you see, like, the times is changing, things are moving. Like now these kids, like, their Dragon Ball Z has arrived with Naruto, and my shit is like, you know, it's over. GT, I think, had wrapped up. It was a wrap and shit like that. So it was a stark reminder that things change, things move on, everything, like, you know, when you're a kid, especially thinking like Dragon Ball is gonna reign supreme forever, like, especially at that time, we don't know that Dragon Ball Z has wrapped up, like, you know, fucking 10 years ago, and there's not going to be any more new episodes until fucking 2013. Like, we don't know that shit. So it was a stark reminder that things come to an end, kind of a coming of age story at that particular point. And like, I will say, because we're kind of focusing in on like Dragon Ball, Naruto, but at that point they probably had a better variety of shows, I want to argue, during the Naruto era than the actual Dragon Ball Z era of Toonami, because from what I remember, in the Naruto era, they had like Zatch Bell, what's the name of, I can't think of the fucking, Bo. They had Bo.
Oh yeah, I remember they had Bo.
They had like a few different things. I want to say they were even playing Gundam around at that, like, I think they played Gundam Wing during the Z era, if I'm not mistaken, but then like
they did.
I want to say they tried to put 0079, which again, I think that was a mistake in retrospect, and I know that they were kind of forced, like there was some politics behind that, like where the Japanese studio was like, no, if you want this show, then you must take this show as well, which again, even in '06, like putting Gundam, a show from the, you know, late 70s, early 80s on TV with anime from the early 2000s.
I mean, I want to say though that was Adult Swim and not Toonami, but I can't say that for certain. I don't remember.
I remember having the debates, like, because I kind of fuzzily remember seeing it on TV, but then I remember too, online, people debating and talking about like those moves also contributed to the end of Toonami at that particular point, of like putting old Gundam shows and shit like that on the block alongside those shows like Naruto and Zatch Bell and Bo and shit like that.
So it's funny we bring up Gundam. I actually just finished the script not that long ago. I'm making a video about getting into Gundam, and I bring up the original, obviously, and I mentioned in it that, like, you know, that's an old ass show, right? And I've learned to appreciate it now, but when they first released it on TV, even I had a hard time getting into it because of how old it looked. And I grew up with 90s anime, you know, like, I can only imagine, like, people who grew up with today's anime trying to watch the original Gundam. It'll be like, you know, trying to watch, like, a silent film or something, like, like fucking ancient.
I could imagine, like, you know, a 13-year-old My Hero Academia fan trying to put on 0079. They would be like, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, that's a good point. That would be like us trying to put on like a silent film, and we like, maybe now I'm a little bit more receptive to, like, I'm open-minded and shit, but like yeah, that's just a jarring jump from, you know, the I don't want to say quality, but I guess like the styles used at that point. And yeah, I mean, there was an update in animation from like, the 70s to then, because, you know, like,
because it freaks me out, because I've noticed some people who grew up with modern anime that have a hard time going back to 90s anime, and that to me freaks me out, because I'm like, but it looks so good. But
and they're them, like, you know, yo, take those old man eyes out of here.
But to them, it looks old and outdated, but to me, it still looks great. So what can you do? Like, but yeah, speaking of Gundam, you know, yeah, Gundam Wing came out around the same time as Dragon Ball Z did on Toonami. That was my fucking jam at the time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That opening, bro. That opening, like,
yeah, communication, like, just communication. That's what it's called. So good.
I like too that if you look at it, Toonami always, like, and even they would throw in like a Samurai Jack in there too to, you know, shake things up a bit, and I think they've even done that in recent times or whatever. But like, that's one of the things I think that
and Batman Beyond too.
Oh yes, Batman Beyond, the fucking, don't get me started again. I'll go on my tangents. Shintai, what are you
Bruce
doing?
Tim tangent.
Yeah, you're luring me in. So Paul Dini on episode 5 of Batman. Oh shit. But like, yo,
Mask of the Phantasm, the best Batman movie.
It was a great fucking movie, okay? Like, don't disrespect the Kevin Conroy.
I'm just saying, Mask of the Phantasm. Fuck, so good.
Oh man, and but going back to what I was saying, it like the variety was so cool. Looking back, like you have a shonen action series like Dragon Ball Z. You have what, a sci-fi adventure, I guess you would call, like Gundam Wing, like, right? Sci-fi adventure.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. They had another sci-fi action show with Outlaw Star.
Outlaw Star, oh my god. And now you're making me think of the bumps. Like the most iconic bump of all of Toonami was "A boy has the right to dream." And you see like Goku is laying in the grass with Gohan in their Super Saiyan forms, and then you have, I think it's Outlaw Star, where they're doing the countdown before they launch, and they're like, "You're gonna just keep running away." I'm not running. Like, oh my god, Toonami's pumps back in the day, like that shit would, woo,
it would hype you up.
Yo, like Toonami, man.
They also had Rurouni Kenshin at the time.
Oh my gosh, I still wish that at some given point they would animate that final arc. Like, come on, like how long has it been already?
Yeah, it's too late now. They're not gonna do it.
I mean, they went back not that long ago, and they did those OVAs, and I think they're even still continuing that remake of the manga, or I forgot what they were doing with the manga. They were doing like a new Rurouni Kenshin manga, and I think they're either still doing it, or they were just up until maybe last year or the year before that doing it, even after that whole catastrophe that we will not dive into in this episode, maybe another episode, but of 2017, of what happened with Nobuhiro Watsuki. But like, you know, I think
let's not even get into it.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about it.
But I think they even after that continued, like they brought him back and they were doing it again. So I don't think they're adverse to doing more Kenshin. I know that it bombed back in the day when they started doing all that filler. Like, it was doing really well with the Makoto Shisho stuff, and then like when they did the filler, the ratings dropped. But come on, like, okay, yeah, the ratings dropped for filler.
Of course it dropped. What do you expect?
Like, but people would love that shit. Like, if they did, let's just say 3 films to adapt the final arc, I think people would go freaking crazy.
They probably would, but I don't know. They probably would at this point. I don't know if they're still doing Kenshin or not. I don't know. I really don't know. They probably don't see the money in it.
The live actions, I think, did pretty well. Like, they did 3 live action films, and they were good. Like, I saw the first one, and I remember I was like, oh, this shit is so good.
I never watched those. I did hear that they were, like, surprisingly decent.
Like, for anime live actions, those are some of the best anime live action films I've ever seen. Like, because you think about it,
okay,
especially early Kenshin, like, there's not much, like, special effects wise. Like, you know, you dress a couple motherfuckers up like samurai, give them some swords, get some cool action scenes going. It's not like, you know, I don't know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where you gotta fucking do CGI of stands behind them and all sorts of crazy shit. And I mean, they even did that with part 4. They did the live action part 4. So like, you know, the more basic the construct is, the more they could just focus in on making a dope screenplay. And I think that's why it succeeded, to be honest.
No, yeah, definitely. Which boggles my mind why Monster never got that live action. Like, it was going to, but then got canceled for whatever reason.
It got canceled?
I mean, I don't think they came out and said it, but come on, that had to have been what happened, because it's been like, I don't know how many years since Guillermo del Toro said, like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and then fucking nothing happened. So I have to imagine it got canceled.
And I think Naoki Urasawa has written like 4 or 5 other series since Monster, right? Like, he had 20th Century Boys, Pluto. He got a new one. I just saw an advertisement for a new one just the other day, and I think he had even another one besides the 2 that I just mentioned. So
Pluto's actually getting an adaptation as well.
Oh, well, you can count me in. People, this is Naoki Urasawa. I highly recommend, and I got like volume 1 of Pluto, never checked it out for whatever reason, like nothing to do with the series. I trust wholeheartedly, as long as they do a proper adaptation, Pluto's probably going to be a masterpiece. Just throwing that in there, because that's how much I trust Naoki Urasawa's pen, especially what he did with Monster. And damn, man, that kind of hurts to think about, because I remember, yeah, they had announced that they were working on a Monster live action, and even now, if they still did it, I think it would be a humongous success. And if they like kind of catered to a Western demographic and they did a proper adaptation, oh my god, that could be like something that introduces like a bajillion people into the Monster books, like the manga.
Dude, because like Monster, like the material is so fucking good, and you know, it's like you said with the Rurouni Kenshin movies, like there's no like special effects or anything like that, so it translates pretty easily to live action, no problem. Like arguably Monster even more so than Kenshin, because like with Kenshin, like some of the fights are, you know, kind of over the top. Like not even Monster, you know, has stuff like that. So like it wouldn't be that difficult to just pretty one-to-one adapt the material.
And the foreign aspects, because, you know, like I look at it from all angles, like, you know, the average person that doesn't give a shit about anime and manga, like, oh, what's the name? Like the only Japanese character I want to say is the main character. Aside from that, like Tenma, and that's a freaking easy name. And then what you got, Johan, what's his sister's name? Annie? Anne?
On.
So, like, you know, these are simple names, so there won't be no need for, like, a name change. There's really, like, the story is there. Like, literally just write it in script form, get some great actors, put that shit together. Like, I don't understand why something like that would fall apart. I mean, I get it that it's in high regard. You got to make sure you execute it properly, but I will continue to beat a dead horse as much as possible when I say that if The Witcher, especially comparing that to Monster, The Witcher can get a godlike adaptation of what they did. Come on.
No, yeah. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe Netflix needs to swoop in and turn it into a Netflix special.
Was it HBO that was working on it?
It was originally going to be an HBO special, yeah.
Come on, bro. Netflix, give us, you know, a 10 episode nice tester. I wonder where would 10 episodes lead. Like, it would definitely get through the hospital scene, him saving him, of course. Like, probably.
Well, that would be like episode 1.
No, it wasn't it like 3 episodes before, like, he was on the loose and shit? I don't think it was all covered in episode 1.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was like, it took a 2 or 3 episodes or something like that.
And it's, too, it lends itself to be, like, okay, like, but anybody could jump in, because it's kind of, like, episodic for a while in between Monster as well, so, like...
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, like, with HBO specials, they're usually, like, an hour long.
Yeah, so, Netflix, come on. HBO, you lost, and eventually their license agreement will probably expire, like, because, you know, eventually they gotta lose the license, and then once it's up for grabs, come on, people, like, where's, like, I've said it before in this show, Berserk live action, I'm all for it. Get it right, nail it, you got me. Monster, throw that shit in there, let's get a live action going. It would be brilliant.
At this point, though, I'd be happy enough if they just re-release Monster on Blu-ray. The fact that we haven't even gotten that makes me so mad.
From what I remember, it sold very poorly, and then there was like 15 million rights disagreements and shit. Like, it's basically in limbo hell from, I think it was, oddly enough, because we're still supposedly in the Toonami debate, but whatever.
Yeah, we've totally gone off a tangent, but whatever.
Fuck it, we're having a good discussion right here. But I want to say it was Jason DeMarco, again, maybe I'm misremembering, that even spoke about that, because I think they were talking about like, you know, shows that they could license for Toonami, and I think he, again, maybe I'm off and it's not him, but whoever it was, they said that, like, that's in, like, licensing hell from what happened, because I think, if I remember correctly, Viz Media licensed Monster. They put out one DVD. It sold horribly, and they thought it was going to be like the next Death Note, but it wasn't. And I think they dubbed every single episode of it too, which is the fucking bananas part. Like, every episode of it is dubbed. Not that I think it's a fact, because I watched every episode dubbed. So it's all there. It's literally just like, the original creators, I think, got pissed off in some way or another too. Like, I think it's just, again, licensing hell.
What a fucking bummer to happen to, like,
a masterpiece.
What is one of the best anime ever made? Like, what the fuck?
And
You know,
it's a Madhouse anime too, right?
Yeah. And I honestly don't blame them for expecting Monster to turn into the next Death Note, because the content is that good. But the thing is, Death Note was only like 30 something episodes compared to Monster, which is 70 something.
I think Death Note was 37, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like, I think the way that I've kind of noticed things, like, I feel like the anime fans that are willing to watch something that's that long are not the same anime fans that watch like, that's, you know, something like Death Note. If you get what I'm saying. Like, I noticed that, like, there are some exceptions. Like, Fullmetal Alchemist is like 50, 60 episodes long, something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, the majority of anime I've seen, like, if you're the type of person that that likes to watch a lot of anime, you know, you like to watch a lot of different shows, they're usually like the 12, 26 episode animes. You know, you're not really into long animes. And if you're into long animes, you're watching stuff like Naruto, you're watching stuff like Dragon Ball Z, you're watching stuff like One Piece, you know? And I don't think there's enough people that are in both camps to make Monster the success that it deserves to be. You get what I'm saying?
100%, but I still gotta scream what you said. Give me that Blu-ray, please.
Give it! I want it!
Or at the very least, come on, like, this is free money. Let Crunchyroll or whoever the fuck, Netflix, I think Netflix, because now they're growing and their anime stuff is growing. Like, even Netflix would be great. Like, let them license it. Give them the come on, for a decent price too, considering it bombed the first time around. Let them get it for a decent price, maybe the first 20 or so, and then depending on how it does, be like, all right, yo, we want that coin now, you know?
It hasn't even been released on Blu-ray in Japan. Like, you'd think
that's
at
pathetic.
Least, like, pathetic. Fucking Japan releases Blu-ray versions of everything.
Well, I'll say this. I know that Naruto isn't on Blu-ray, which makes no sense. Like, the episodes.
What?
Yeah, they don't release, like, Naruto. I think the One Piece anime isn't on Blu-ray.
What the
TV
fuck?
series. Yeah, it's really bizarre. Like, because they create it in, you know, 720, 1080p, whatever, but they still shove it on DVDs with like 3 episodes of DVD. It's really bizarre the way they still do it. I think with shows like that in particular, I want to say it's because of existing licensing agreements that they would have to update and get lawyers involved, so they don't. And also, like, people barely buy the DVDs as it is, I want to say. But yeah, I want to say with those shows in particular, they don't even put them on Blu-ray, which is really bizarre, which is why we don't get, like, by now we should have original Naruto on like one nice big Blu-ray box set, and we don't even have that.
We instead have Inuyasha on Blu-ray.
Hey, you brought it up this time. Hey.
Shout outs to that guy who said, like, yo, you should buy this for Shintai. I ain't even mad. Don't fucking buy it for me, but, you know.
Oh shit, yo, that dude came out of the, I'm like, yo, really? Like, dude, I think it was on Instagram, he writes at ForneverWorld on like a Inuyasha Blu-ray box that just released, say, yo, you should buy this for Shintai, and I ain't gonna lie, I was just dying laughing.
Yeah, I ain't even mad, just don't fucking buy it for me.
Oh man,
that concludes our discussion about Toonami.
yeah, that wasn't really about Toonami the last 15 minutes, but
whatever.
Just to close out, because we really didn't talk about the modern era too much. I will say,
I don't know shit about the modern era,
but I think Toonami is still I don't know how much longer it will be, but I think it's still important. I think it's still important and integral to anime in the West, because it's still, believe it or not, plenty of people that don't really do the internet thing. They just put on cable, and whatever's on cable they watch, and that introduces a lot of mainstream audience that may have not, you know, given a shit about anime to anime. So I still think it's vital. It also, like, because I've noticed trends. Like, I've been into this shit really deep for a while. Like, when an anime leaves Toonami, it leaves, like, its merchandise leaves Hot Topic. Its merchandise leaves FYE. So that kind of is a big example of, like, oh, this is the power that, cable television still kind of has. Like, when One Piece left Toonami, I haven't seen a One Piece shirt in Hot Topic, and that's, like, I don't know how many years now. So it does have an importance still. Again, I don't know 10 years from now if that'll be the case, or 20 years from now if cable will have any type of power. But for now, I'd still say this block is somewhat necessary for anime's thriving popularity.
I mean, I felt that cable was losing its grip right when Netflix was a thing. Even before streaming, when Netflix used to send DVDs in the mail, like, I vividly remember thinking, like, oh wow, why bother waiting to watch this stuff weekly when I can just go on Netflix and I can get, like, this anime right now. I could watch it right now on DVD.
I wasn't really a part of the DVD, like, having them mailed out. Do you remember when or what time period it was when they completely cut off the sending the DVDs in the mail and just went strictly digital?
I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah, because that kind of as a whole, like, it was a small fad, like the red box that would be outside of, like, your local grocery store, to where you could rent the DVDs and then send them back and shit like that. Like, that was a fun little tester, but it was ultimately all leading to the internet anyway.
To streaming, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Toonami, 3 eras. Before we jump into the next thing that we're going to talk about, people, curious, your experiences with Toonami, the 3 different eras. Do you agree there's 3 different eras? Maybe you think there's less, more? Which era was yours? And do you still feel like in 2020, Toonami 2020, it's important and vital, or you think that, like, even if it left, it wouldn't have an impact? I would disagree with that, because, again, I've seen firsthand, like, an anime comes on Toonami, it blows up with merchandise everywhere. It's not on Toonami, you don't really see it. So that's my take on it. But I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. Now let's move on to anime and manga and whatever the hell else we've been enjoying lately. And I'll start off this one. This week, I've actually had a good chunk of different anime I've watched. I mean, I watched my weekly, my Black Clover, my Boruto, the God of High School, Re:Zero, all of that stuff. Yeah, I'll see the videos. I mean, Re:Zero kind of has me a little bit confused at this point. The latest episode left me with a bunch of different theories of, like, and it's not a spoiler, people, because I don't even think this has been confirmed even in the light novels, but I really feel like Re:Zero is Subaru is already dead, and this is, like, the afterlife. Like, that's just my theory based on some of the latest episode. And again, there's no proof, this isn't a spoiler, but I that's what I feel. And I don't think the author will ever express that, because the whole thing is selling an illusion of life in another world and adventure. And if you think that he's dead, oh, so it's not what I thought it was. But that's my theory on Re:Zero.
When you say confusing, do you mean that in, like, a good way or a bad way?
Kind of neither. I'm just genuinely a bit confused, because, mind you, I haven't watched season 1 in 4 years. So there's a lot of things. Like, and I guess quickly to bring you into the discussion, do you feel there's a possibility that some of, not all, some of the Life in Another World isekai franchises are secretly having these characters go to another world, but they're really, like, they're killed in real life, and that's the other world that they brought to us, like, this is life after death, essentially? What do you think about that?
You mean, like, thematically? Like, is that, like, the message that they're trying to get across?
Yeah, like, do you think that that's plausible, of, like, No Game, No Life, or, well, No Game, No Life, I do think they return, like, those ones where they're, like, stuck in this world or whatever, and they can't get out, or they don't even address getting out, they're just stuck in this other world. Do you think that it's actually maybe a encoded thing that these characters died, and this is an interpretation of them living out their wildest dreams in the afterlife?
I mean, I don't really watch much isekai, but I don't see why not. That seems like a pretty interesting way to look at it, at least, because if you think about it, the way that we want to see the afterlife is, like, we want to think that there's more to our lives, and that if there were an afterlife, that it would be something fantastical. So, but at the same time, it would also come with its own hardships. It will be like you're still living your life, but things are different. So I think that's another way of looking at it.
Hey Jamie, can you pull up the afterlife?
Oh wow, you come on.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Only a few people are gonna get that.
Joe Rogan reference for people that don't know. Like, oh shit, I ain't gonna lie, I had to throw that in somewhere. It just popped into my mind. I was like, that was perfect time. Oh shit. But so yeah, I mean, honestly, that would be interesting, and like if it was ever revealed in like one of these isekai series where they blatantly say something, and maybe it already has been, and I'm sure somebody in the comments gonna say, well, actually, in blah blah blah, season 12, blah, blah. Yeah, all right, cool, thanks for letting me know.
It's like, chill, fam.
So yeah, I watched that, and then some stuff that is kind of like completed or older or whatever you want to call it. I've been dabbling in with an episode or two of Haikyuu. I kind of went back to season 1 where I left off, having fun with that. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wind, I'm slowly progressing through that one. And again, it's not that I'm not enjoying any of these series. I wouldn't be watching them. It's just, as you can see, I just named like 5-6 different anime that I'm watching at a time. And lastly, the Seven Deadly Sins, I've been going back to that. I started with the revival of the Ten Commandments season, so I think that's season 2, although Netflix labels it season 3 because of those OVAs, whatever. So yeah, I've had my plate filled with anime, to be honest with you. I got into Seven Deadly Sins, or got back into it, shall I say, just quickly. Mainly because they have like the new spin-off manga, and I kind of want to finish it. I had great memories with the Seven Deadly Sins. Like, there's so much fun to be had with it. A lot of people used to say, and I know people have said it went downhill after a certain point, but a lot of people used to say it was like a better version of Fairy Tail. So I like Seven Deadly Sins a lot, so I'm looking forward to trudging through, and depending, because I think they got the terribly animated season coming to Netflix. I'm not sure if I'm gonna just dive back into the manga, trudge through that. I don't know, but it is what it is. Cool. Yeah, for the most part, I glazed through my anime watch. Shintai, what have you been doing? Have you been riding wild hurricanes, mate?
Well, I'm about to be face fucked by one soon, so that's gonna be fun. For those that don't know, I live in South Florida. And
yeah,
a hurricane is coming this way. Don't worry, I'm going to be fine. It's going to be like category 1 or 2 or something like that. It's not going to be a big deal. Anyways.
Hurricane Johann Lieber, right?
Absolutely. It's going to mind game me to death. And then whisper sweet nothings into my ear about how life doesn't mean anything.
Hey, Jamie, can you pull up Sweet Nothings? Oh shit, Shintai, please fill us in on what you've been up to.
So, I mentioned that I've been watching an anime called Oregairu, and I watched some of season 2.
Season
I wish
5.
it was season 5. I'm up to episode 5 in season 2. I wish there was a season 5 because the show is that good. But part of the reason why I stopped is because I got kind of annoyed with the Crunchyroll. Because every time you turn on an episode on Crunchyroll, it has the episode load in like 240p or some shit. And then sometimes it stays that way. And then sometimes midway through the episode, the quality will go back down. I'm just like, it's making me vomit. I'm just like,
I'm so glad you told me that, because to be honest with you, I thought like there was like I was questioning the capabilities of my internet, and I was like, man, I gotta call these motherfuckers at some point and give them a good yelling, because like what the hell is going on? But I'm glad it's Crunchyroll and not me.
No, it's not just you. Right Stuff is having a sale, and they had it for $30, and I was like, I'll take that. Seasons 1 and 2. So I'm just gonna wait for it to come in the mail.
Good deal, by the way.
Yeah, awesome deal. Aside from that, so I'm not going to talk about this for too long, but I read a book called Dirty Daddy by fucking Bob Saget. But
Dirty Daddy.
Dirty Daddy.
What
by
made
Bob
you pick
Saget.
that book up?
Because it was written by Bob Saget. He was Danny Turner in Full House.
Shintai. Oh shit. This episode is brought to you in part by Dirty Daddy. Hey Jamie, can you pull up Dirty Daddy?
It's good.
Oh
Dude,
shit.
it's one of the funniest books I've read in a while. He was talking about how he met Rodney Dangerfield, and Rodney said, "Bob, you don't know cock."
Oh shit, bro.
Yeah, so it's a really good book. I had a lot of fun with it. It was really funny. He was talking about how he was on Full House and how, like, you know, on that show he was just like squeaky clean, you know, like family dad or whatever. But like if you've seen his stand up, he's like a really raunchy guy.
Yeah.
You know, he wrote a song about like how his dog licked his balls. Like,
No, I remember it was so shocking for me as a child. I can't remember what movie it was. Maybe it was like Kindergarten Cop, or maybe it was Kindergarten Cop. It was, Bob Saget was in it. And mind you, I'm a little kid, probably like 5, 7, some shit like that. And I remember seeing Bob Saget and I was so excited, like, oh, you know, because I know him from Full House. And there was a scene where he tells like the cop or some shit like, yeah, I used to suck cock for crack. And I was just like,
no. That was not Kindergarten Cop. That was Half Baked.
Half-Baked. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm like misremembering or some shit, but like I remember seeing that and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he mentions that in the book, and he's like, it's especially embarrassing when he's with his daughters and people are yelling at him about smoking dick for crack.
Yeah. I'd imagine, like, holy fuck. Oh,
but yeah, good book. There's also an audiobook version if you prefer. Check it out if you want a funny read or listen. And aside from that, I haven't played it as much as I would have liked, but I picked up Ghost of Tsushima.
I'm so jealous right now.
Or as I like to call it, Ghost of Weebs.
Yo, everybody is talking about that game. I've been dying to pick that game up because it looks so up my alley and so freaking good. Like, I be seeing at like fucking 4 in the morning PewDiePie be streaming playing it. I'm like, oh my god, this looks so cool.
Yeah, so it's made by Sucker Punch. These are the same people that made Sly Cooper, which I love Sly Cooper. And they also made the infamous games where you play as this dude who, like, shot electricity. Those games are pretty cool too. And yeah, I don't know why, but they decided that we're gonna make a fucking Ninja Samurai game, and it's pretty cool so far. I only played like a couple of hours, but yeah, it's pretty sick. It's basically like Assassin's Creed, but like in Japan, and you play as, like, you know, I'm thinking, like, as you play through the game, you can choose to be more of a ninja or more of a samurai. I think that's how it's gonna work. But yeah, pretty badass so far. It's visually one of the most stunning games I've ever seen. Like, it's super goddamn impressive.
See, with video games and anime, I'm a little bit different. Like, one of the reasons, to be honest with you, why I wanted to pick up Ghost of Tsushima, aside from me looking at it and thinking this looks freaking cool, is the hype kind of sold me. Like, everybody keeps on playing it, and I'm like, yo, I wouldn't mind being a part of this fandom because this shit looks cool and everybody's talking about it. And it's interesting because with video games and anime, again, when it comes to that particular stance on like getting into something because of the hype, I'm kind of divided. But before we get into that topic, let's start playing another game of Who Wants to Be an Anime Fan? And I can't say it as loud as I want to because my daughter's sleeping, but fan.
All right.
Shintai, do you have the question in hand?
Are you ready for this?
I don't know. I'm scared. that the way you said that right now has me frightened.
You should be.
Oh boy.
Well, in an episode of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Haruhi herself attempts to blackmail the computer club by A, exposing their porn stash, B, threatening to kick them all in the nuts, C, forcing them to watch Endless 8,
Oh my god.
or D, accusing them of gangbanging her friend.
Oh my god. Fuck. Well, goddamn, you broke the fourth wall, brought in the Me Too movement and all. You wanna repeat that one real quick? You dead ass have me stunned right now.
All right, here it goes. In an episode of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Haruhi herself attempts to blackmail the computer club by A, exposing their porn stash, B, threatening to kick them all in the nuts, C, forcing them to watch Endless 8, or D, accusing them of gangbanging her friend. Her friend is Mikiro Asahina, I think her name is.
Well, can I get a 50-50 or some shit? Oh. A part of me wants to go with A. A big part of me wants to go with A. A is the porn stash, right?
Yes, exposing their porn stash.
But then a part of me wants to go with B, kicking them in the nuts, or threatening to kick them in the nuts. I think D, like, that, no. I mean, if it is, then holy fucking shit. But wow, I don't think it's C, threatening to make them watch Endless 8. But then again, I don't know, because from what I've heard with Haruhi, that shit is trippy, so it could even be C. Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna go Leroy Jenkins. Let's go with A. Final answer.
A, that's your final answer?
Final answer, the porn stash.
You're wrong.
No, what is it?
Get ready. It was D.
What?
Yes.
I am genuinely right now in utter fucking shock. What the fuck?
Yo, I'm telling you, Haruhi Suzumiya is the GOAT. You wouldn't even know.
Are you trolling me right now?
No, I am not trolling you. I swear to you, that is what happens in the episode.
I thought that was just way too fucking dark. Like, no, it can't be that.
I will say this, though. In the episode, they bleep out what she says, but it's extremely obvious what she's implying.
Well, fucking hell. Haruhi Suzumiya, goddamn. Like, I went with the softball shit, like, oh yeah, they're porn stash, ha ha ha. Like, Haruhi, you savage, you absolute fucking monster. Oh wow.
You know, part of what made me think of that one is the main character in the show. He actually hides like a folder on the school computer, which is just like a collection of pictures of Mikuru Asahina, who's like the big titty one.
Wow. Hey, Jamie, can you pull up Mikuro Asahina? Oh shit. Well, fuck. That was I ain't gonna lie, I'm still shocked as shit. Like I did not expect it to be. I thought D was like the obvious troll, like yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's why I knew this was gonna be a good one.
Well then, come on. Okay, Fornev, regroup.
Collect yourself.
Back to the Ghost of Tsushima, or no, what was the name of Bob Saget's book again?
Dirty Daddy.
Dirty Daddy. Back to Dirty Daddy. No. Oh shit. No, but so the hype train. One of the things we was actually we wasn't going to talk about this originally, but we was kind of having a conversation off mic, and I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting. We both have decent amount to say about it, so let's talk about it in the episode. Because Shintai was telling me a little bit about like, oh yeah, I picked up Ghost of Tsushima or whatever, and it started getting me thinking about like, yeah, man, I wanted to, and then I was thinking to myself, well, a big part of it, aside from again, it looks like it's up my alley. I was like, man, everybody's getting it. I'm kind of like the hype is selling me, and Shintai was telling me like with him. Well, Shintai, go ahead, give your stance on like being sold into the hype and how I guess you approach things like that, like with video games or in general. Like, what is your stance on that whole situation?
Yeah. So when it comes to that sort of thing, like for me, I get hyped, like I'll be excited for something that's going to come out, and if people are like, if there's buzz about it, of course I'm on some level I'm going to be like, oh, what's this, what's the hype what's the hype about, why are people excited? But at the same time, I don't care that much. Like I don't care to the point where like, because you were saying before when we were talking off mic that once the hype dies down, so does your interest, and that's not how it is for me. Where
for video games, yeah,
for you specifically, video games. For me, I don't really, care. Like, I get into something because it interests me first and foremost. So like, you can look behind me, my shelf back there, filled with not just anime but also video games, because I'm a pretty avid gamer. And I play, new games, old games, like whatever, because I play games that interest me. So on some level, yeah, I am interested in something when there's hype, but at the same time, like I don't feel the need to like have to do it just because there's hype, because let's say there's hype for a game that I know I'm not gonna like, fuck it, I don't care, And if it's a game that, I would have been interested in regardless, then regardless of the hype, I would have gotten it. So for me, like, the hype only makes me get something in the sense that like with The Last of Us 2. Like, at first, I was like, I don't know. Like, if I'm more on the fence, that's when the hype might, convince me to get it, just to see what people are talking about. But even then, while I did pick it up, I'm not playing it right now because I'm not in the mood. I don't feel the need to, like, go out of my way to play it. I'll get around to it when I fucking feel like it. And that's...
You dirty daddy.
Yeah. If I'm gonna do a dirty Sanchez on it when I'm done.
See, with me, like with video games, like the hype can sell me. Like when I'm seeing, like, not all the time, because and here's the difference too. Like, I'm not the biggest video game player. I play video games once in a blue, especially lately. I pick them up once in a blue. So like, hype is one of the things that actually even can grab my interest, because otherwise I'm not like really digging in the crates to check out video games, because I don't play them that much as I wish I would and could, because like I just don't be having the time. With anime, I'm definitely different. Like, yeah, anime hype can get my interest. Sometimes there's just shows that, like, even with the hype, I'm like, nah, I don't think so. But like, even what I spoke about earlier, the stuff that I'm watching, like, yeah, while I'm watching some of the new shit, I'm still going back like, well, I kind of want to watch season 1 of Haikyuu. I kind of want to watch, this and that. And I'll even check out like old shows that nobody or their mama's talking about. Whatever looks good or sounds good, or a recommendation from a friend, or yada yada. So I guess like it's more so with me, like with a medium that I'm not that passionate about, because I'm not that passionate about video games. I kind of almost need the hype to kind of lure me into something, because again, I'm not that big into it. Like most of the video games that I do play are like anime fighters or anime, based games and shit like that. With anime and manga, it's a whole different ball game. Like again, hype can sell me, but 9 times out of 10, I really got to be into it to even, let alone, check it out or continue it for that matter.
No, yeah, I feel you on that, because at the same time, it is also fun to be part of the hype cycle and to be part of the conversation, and for people to be like, oh my god, did you play this new game, it's so sick, blah 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 blah, like it could be fun to be a part of that, but that doesn't mean much to me personally, because I play games just because I like to play games, and that's where it begins, that's where it ends. If anything, I'm more interested in creating my own conversation when it comes to games. I prefer like playing a game, coming to my own conclusions about it, and then taking my conclusions and then making a video about it, and to get people talking about like, oh hey, that's a cool perspective that you have, and talking about like the arguments that I made or whatever, like. And that's not to say like I completely I'm only about like how I see things, obviously, because I also watch tons of videos of people that critique games and analyze games and all that shit. Of course, that's my jam as well. But again, for me, it's not really about the hype. The only time I get into the hype is like if it's a series I'm already into, or it's like a developer I really like and they're coming out with something new, I'm like, hell fucking yes, day one, inject into my veins, I need it now, like, or again, with something like The Last of Us Part 2, where, the controversy surrounding it, people are like really divided on it, that kind of interests me too, where I'm like, I wonder where I fit in there, like, am I going to love it? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to be somewhere in the middle? That's kind of where my interest lies.
That's interesting, because with The Last of Us 2, majority from what I heard anyway, maybe, again, you're much deeper in like the know about these things, but I remember from what I heard with The Last of Us 2 was that it was terrible. Like that was the big deal. Like it got leaked and people said like it's trash, and the stuff that happened to Laura Bailey and shit like that. So you like, was that majority of what on your end what you were seeing as well? Is that like Last of Us 2 is like shit and all that stuff, or?
So when the leaks first came out of like certain like story beats, it was predominantly negative. But the thing is, it's one thing to like read a leak and to actually see something like in the game. Not only that, but like, you could dislike certain story beats, but then like other story beats will be fine. Or maybe, the gameplay is really good, and it's not that simple. And I would say like since the game came out, the reception has been a lot more divided than just, oh, it's trash. Like I've seen opinions across the board. I've seen people say the game is trash. I've heard some people say like it's better than the first game. I've seen people say like, it's not as good as the first game, but it was pretty good. Or, like I've seen like every fucking opinion on the game since it came out. So
okay, I gotta ask you the tough question. I gotta do it to you.
No, Big Chungus is not in the game.
The Last of Us 2 or Dirty Daddy?
It's a tough one. Really tough one. But I gotta stay true to my man Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, Bob
Or-
Saget, numero uno, the realest song. Like, you ever heard that rap song that he made with
yeah,
those two?
with David Kennedy.
David Kennedy, yes, Bob Saget, the illest motherfucker in a
I'm rolling
cardigan
with
sweater.
Saget.
Oh shit, yeah. Is your stance the same way regarding hype with anime as well, or it's different with anime?
I think my approach to anime is a tiny bit different. I don't get, I don't get affected by hype that much, unless it's like, it's an anime that looks interesting to me, and then there's a lot of hype around it, then I'll be like, okay, let's see what this is about. But most of the time, what I look for in anime, that like if it's just something that interests me, that's what makes me gravitate toward anime. Or if it's like a friend that knows my taste and it's like, hey, you should check this out, this is really good.
Perfect example, like when I've been telling you to rewatch Inuyasha.
I've already watched it. That doesn't work.
It's like, man, maybe
that's like someone who ate a shit sandwich and you're like, hey, you should try this shit sandwich again. Just take another bite.
You may find something a little bit interesting on the second or third go around. It's an acquired taste, Shintai, okay?
You should turn the sandwich around and eat it on the other end. That side's a little bit crunchier.
There you go.
Fuck you.
Oh shit. And well, we still have a couple of topics, but I think we could save them because we already reached the hour mark of the episode. I guess to wrap this topic up in particular regarding the hype. I mean, at the end of the day, I think both of us can agree as grown adults, regardless of hype or what, we're gonna do, and we're gonna watch, or we're gonna play, or whatever, what we want at the end of the day. Like, yeah, hype can be a major influence, and you might follow along with it if it sells you, but at the end of the day, it's still up to us. And I still, at the end of the day, even if a video game, like, because I could talk on my ass all day, like, oh man, the hype really gets me, but I still will like completely say, well, it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna play it anyway. So I think we could both agree on that for anime, manga,
Hey,
just in general.
At the very least, I got you to play Tales of Zillion. There wasn't like a ton of hype around that, and you loved that game.
Tales of Zillia, what's the name of that game? Pussy Snow?
Drakengard 3.
Drakengard 3, that game was fucking awesome. Like, yeah, you put me onto some fucking dope ass games, I ain't gonna lie. And I put you onto like great anime, like, Inuyasha.
Yeah, great. And what else? School Days and Elfen Lied. Classics.
Top 10 of all time, bro.
Top 10 anime that made me feel like my balls were being squeezed to death.
Oh my god, I gotta lie. This has been one hell of an episode. Thank you real quickly to everybody that's been watching. I've noticed like we've really been consistent with viewership, and some episodes don't do as well as others, but for the most part we're getting 10,000, 11,000 plus viewers with every episode, and both of us really appreciate it, and we're loving where this is going. We got some very big plans moving forward with the podcast. Again, keep on. You have any topics or ideas for topics and stuff like that, we're definitely taking them into consideration, like we did with the Toonami topic that we covered in this episode. Yeah, thank you to everybody that's been following. Like 10 episodes, we've been consistent. I'm loving this. I have a great time with it, and I'm glad that from what I see, like 99.9% of you guys are enjoying this. And yeah, we hope to keep on doing for another 10, another 100, and make big moves with it.
Yeah, every time I see a comment of someone being like, yo, this is my jam, or like, oh, this is part of my routine now, or oh man, I listen to this in the car or whatever, like all those comments are great. Really appreciate it.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, I think that's everything for the episode. What do you guys think? Or better yet, no, Shintai, any final thoughts on the topics that we talked about in this one, whether it be Toonami, hype, Dirty Daddy, Jamie?
I will say this. Another nickname for Bob Saget is Sag Balls.
Well then. And Haruhi Suzumiya promotes Me Too agenda.
Well, apparently she promotes gangbanging.
Oh shit. Well, people, that's been another episode of the ForneverWorld podcast. I'm ForneverWorld. He's Shin Dizzle, aka Dirty Daddy. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Boy.
Have an awesome one, people.